Hey everybody, how are you?
It's been a long time. We haven't been on for a while. About what, the week
It's
before?
been a month. It's been a month. We've missed 3 weeks.
The week before the cruise, I don't know what happened. We were busy or something, or we were. I know we had the flu 1 week.
That was me.
Yeah, and then I got sick. Remember? And
Right.
then we went on the cruise. We were fine for the cruise. Came back, and then Jay last week wasn't feeling very good. It was more like a head cold, but anyway. So we're here, and we're so lucky to have gotten back on February 28th, and that we weren't like a ship out in quarantined out in the ocean. So
right. Well, we didn't come from the Orient like the one that was quarantined, so I'm sure that's a big part of it. But as we see what's going on in the world today, there's a lot of things that are creating fear and concern and upset and worry. And what I want you to know is we've been doing a little bit of research on exactly what's been going on with this virus and the things that we have to concern ourselves with, and what to do. And if you've been listening to the radio and watching TV, they're mostly talking about good hygiene, washing your hands,
people.
And it's so funny. It seems like such a simple thing, but they're also worried about it being airborne, which it is airborne, and it's the reason why the NBA has postponed its season. I listen to the sports station all day. They've been talking about all these things. It started with the Harvard and Yale, and that group was the initial ones who said they're canceling their program this year. They weren't going to do their championship to see who was going to go to the finals for the college basketball playoffs. That's where it started, and then all of a sudden everybody else started jumping in. It's amazing how much is being created by this, because I think it's a good thing. It shows that if there ever was a super serious disease or something like germ warfare or some kind of a biological warfare, that our response is completely appropriate. The whole world is jumping in on this. And I just want you to know that regardless of all these things going on around you,
we don't have to freak out.
Right.
And buy up toilet paper.
And only time will tell us if some of this is overreaction or not. But the thing is that to be precautionary at this stage and not really knowing how far this particular disease can go, I have been doing some research on exactly what the mortality rate is and everything. And here in the United States, we are much safer than other countries. Italy seems to be the one that's most dominant right now, and talking about Italy quite a bit. But the reason why it's so severe there is because they have a much older population. Like
their average population is 9 years, their median is 9 years older than our population.
Yeah, their average population is 45. A lot of the people who are having the physical issues and stuff are much older in the hospital and having some real serious issues. And our population age is 38. So that's, when you take the averages of those ages, that's a significant almost 10-year difference in average age, which means they have a lot of older people.
And mostly older people, if you guys just do your research. I mean, don't just listen to what you hear. Do your research. I researched it, and they said a lot of them are way elderly people, because I guess it could go into pneumonia, and then it goes into their lungs. And when you're old like that, over 80, that's what happens. So, it is a flu. It is a type of flu.
Right.
And just be cautionary. Don't go out if you have a fever. But they say, I just posted a video of a guy who was quarantined on the Princess, and he said he was done, and his wife never even got it. And he said all he had was a high fever for 8 hours, and then he had just a dry cough, and that was it. So I think there's different things that are happening to different people.
Right, and it's like any other disease. And the average time for people to get this disease, they're doing the quarantine for 14 days. The actual timeline for getting the disease is actually much shorter than that. But the difficulty with NBA stars and soccer stars from Italy, that kind of thing, they're around people 24/7 and their teammates and all that thing, and it can spread so quickly, and it makes sense that they're shutting these events down, because popular people and well-known people have crowds around them all the time, and it makes sense, but it's scary. So there's a couple things we want to talk about. Of course, we're both Christians, so we want to bring the biblical perspective to this whole event and what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, fear not, right? Because
what is it?
Right.
What's the verse?
And I don't know if you all are Christian, if you've read the Bible, if you know what's going to happen in the end days. But God always makes these promises to us, and I posted today, it was Isaiah 42:10, was it? And it was, fear not, for I am with you. He is with us, and he isn't going to leave us or forsake us, and we can trust him. And that's the thing about being a Christian. We don't have to freak out, and we don't have to get all crazy. We can just trust that God will take care of us, and everything will be fine. It'll all work in his time. And if it is the end days and it's the start of it, which we believe,
let's not go there. We want to talk biblical things and talk about biblical hope.
We don't know when the end days are going to be.
So
nobody knows. I don't care who says it.
Right. So basically the verse goes like this. It's Isaiah 41:10. So this is one for you to have written down so you can go to it. And then we're also going to talk about a couple New Testament verses that I think give a lot of hope too. And it says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And that's a promise to all of us, that he will be there if you just seek him. You give your heart to him, and he will cover you. And there's times when Kimberly and I weren't with God, and we weren't following God, and we weren't talking about God or being with him in any way, shape, or form. Yet I know there are so many times that some of the things we were doing, we shouldn't have survived. I mean, there were times we did things that, driving while under the influence and things like that, that's just dumb to do, especially in today's Uber, Lyft society. But we were just doing those things, and we got home sometimes and we're just going, wow, that was dumb. And, so I know that he's with us a lot of times. And other ideas that you have to have from God is that he wants to bless you. He wants you to be happy. He wants you to live a life of joy and peace. That doesn't mean you won't have trouble, but he'll show you how to walk through that trouble with him, knowing that he's there with you.
He kind of carries us through the trouble, right?
Yeah, and gives us the peace because we know that we're protected, regardless of the end result of what we're going through at the time.
Yeah, and there's so many verses. There's the dog. There's the dog. I don't know if you all, Oliver, no, he wants to say something because he cares too. But anyway, I don't know if, where was my train of thought?
I don't know, honey, but I'm going to go to John 14:27 because this is one of my favorite verses.
And if my dog barks again, I'm very sorry, but he gets a little excited.
Right, and in these times, this is one that I hear. I hear people on the radio say it all the time, even people that aren't like pastors and that kind of thing. It's just one that I think a lot of Christian people just hold on to. And for those of you who aren't Christian, why not? I mean, look at the options that you have here, the hope and the joy and the peace, versus perhaps just being afraid and having nowhere to go. Well, I'm glad that we're with him because we have somewhere to go.
Yeah, we're not out there panicking and
freaking
out. I mean, I haven't bought toilet paper, that's for sure. I'm like, well,
Yeah, and if we run out of toilet paper, hopefully we don't run out of water because I can always hop in the shower.
I have tissue.
So this one is, peace I leave with you.
Oh, John 14:27?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
John 14, verse 27.
Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give it to you as the world gives, because it's God giving it to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. And the fear that we allow to set inside our hearts and minds over these types of things is that fear that does not help you. It's a fear that scares you, takes you away from what you're focused on, takes you away from your family, for the people that you love, when you could be supporting them and helping them and guiding them. Kimberly and I have talked about this a lot the last few days, and how we just don't have any concerns for this other than helping other people know that there's an opportunity to get through it, and how we help
knowing
them.
The facts. I think a lot of people don't know the true facts. And Jay and I were just talking too about how media and just shows nowadays, like, remember that movie Outbreak, and it just
and The Walking Dead and
Walking Dead and these shows that instill all this fear in us that this is going to happen, and
this is not going to happen. There's not going to be zombies walking on the earth and eating people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not going to happen.
But it's like a false.
But it doesn't mean that there can't be a time when such a disease comes out that does wipe out a lot of people in this world.
It's already happened. There's been diseases that have
in the
come
past
on,
in history, right? But it's not something to be afraid of. It's something to have trust in, and take your time to God and say, Lord, how do I get through this? How do I help other people? How do I be the person that you want me to be? And that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, but all these psychological designs that have been created by our TVs have created a fear in the society of both America and other countries, like The Walking Dead. And I know this is kind of a weird conversation to be having because it's not really the conversation we want to have tonight.
But everybody's having it.
Right. And the idea of this opportunity and the way we're responding as a country and the way we're stepping up and taking it on and shutting all these things down, I think is just great, even though it just seems really hard. But we know in the future, if something very serious does come up that we do have to seriously be concerned about when 25, 30, 40, 50, or even 70% of the people who get a disease are dying because of it, we know there's going to be an appropriate response and that we're willing to step up and take it on. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and the markets are going nuts and everything's going nuts. But again, do not fear, for he is with us. He's gotten us through a lot. He gets us through. And what's the worst thing? We could be in heaven, right? I mean, as believers, that's the worst thing. And I have no problem with that.
Right. We ought to be. And so for those of you who don't have a faith at this time, if you ever want to call either one of us and have that conversation, we would love to do it with you. And just if you have questions about why we believe what we believe, we're happy to do it. We're not going to preach to you. We're not going to start a whole thing and, hey, you have to do these Bible studies and all that. Although that would be amazing and awesome. We would love to. That's not what we're here for. We're here just to help give answers to something that we believe in, and we've seen enough in our lives to know that it is the truth, that it's the absolute truth beyond what most people understand. The country of America, we all claim to be Christians, and the truth is most of us really aren't. And because we don't trust him and have true faith in him and really ask him daily to guide us as we do, and that doesn't make us better than anybody else. It just makes us people who have learned through Jesus to care more and take care of people whenever the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, and we don't need to have more anxiety in this country. We have way too much anxiety as it is.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And, just call on him. He will help you through, and trust in him. But, we do marriage ministry, and this has nothing to do with marriage other than the fact that
we have to help each other get through this time.
We have to help each other get through these times and to support each other. And you may have a spouse that might be a little bit more anxious than the other spouse. And just having understanding at this time would be good for each other, to support each other. I think Jay and I are both on the same page that we have peace about it. We know that it's I did some more research on it, and they said that when the warmer temps come, it goes away. Just like the normal flu. It's a strain of flu. And so it just goes away when it gets warmer. So I'm like, geez, why'd it have to rain all week and cool down, because we were getting warmer temperatures? But next week we'll have warmer temperatures, and they said that it should start phasing out. That's what they're seeing. So,
right.
Just trust in the Lord. And we really wanted to talk about having fun with your spouse,
because we just went on that cruise, and that's what we did. It was something that we planned for a long time, and it
was a work cruise. It was like a team building cruise.
Oh, it was still fun.
It was super fun though, and we can kind of roll into that now after you don't want to.
No.
He doesn't want to. So
no,
we're going to
do it
save that for next week.
Right. We'll talk about this next week, and hopefully we get more of you on, and I hope this helps some of you for information that you may not be getting or time you didn't have to research it. We know that there's a lot of concerns out there right now, and we'd love to give you any information if you have questions. Please feel.
And we're praying for everybody who does have it.
Absolutely.
And that you get well. And we were told that a lot of people who have had it are already better. I think there were 6 confirmed cases here in Arizona, and most of them are fine now. But yeah, thanks, Keith. And just thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week. Same time, and we will talk about having fun with your spouse, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care, and God bless.